All right, guys. Believe it or not, session number 9. Woo! The Kingdom of Mysticka. So, to recap where we last left off, we're pretty much in a sad state. The harbor was no use to us. Those ships were not sailable. Instead, we found some pretty nasty creatures in the harbor that was just much too dangerous to go near there. And we discovered this boy in which Ghoul almost accidentally slit his throat. And if that actually would have happened, probably this party would be no more. And we get brought down into Shadow's Hold. And, you know, get kind of shown around and stuff. And Ghoul is quite uncomfortable with this. Erlon is uncomfortable with Shadow's Hold, thinking that something odd is amiss in this community.
Yeah, he's freaking spider legs. Bet your ass there's something wrong with this community.
After that tour that we were given, I think it was, Captain Thomond, shown here in the blue. Captain Thomond gave us the tour and showed us where everything was at. And said that the next day, Lady Agatha would be making room for us in one of the residential, the living quarters. So until then, we stayed the night in the holding cells and made ourselves as comfortable as we could, and we completed our long rest. So
Before we went to bed, I wanted to do something.
Okay.
I wanted to cast Detect Magic on that ring that I found.
Okay. So we're kind of getting together. Are we going to sleep in different quarters?
I might stay in the same cell as Ghoul. I don't want to stay in that bloody one.
Yeah. That's...
Just in case we got to bug out, I might stay with him.
Okay. Ghoul and Erlon are going to take this one. Deadeyes, go ahead and move yours where you want to go. Okay. Zizix will join you there.
One thing that, again, just use the second edition rules. With a familiar, as an action, I can make it disappear.
Yeah.
And really, that's probably what I would be doing most of the time. Like, when we're not, not most of the time, but like, instead of having them fly down and come inside of this place and all of that, I just have them not here. So
it's just important because as soon as combat starts, if you don't have your familiar out, spending an action to bring him out would be...
Yeah.
I don't want it to turn into one of those things like, oh, well, he would have had him out. Right? So if you do want to do that, then just, make sure you're clear about when you're bringing him out and when he's not.
Yeah. So as long as we're in this black hold area, unless I tell you otherwise, he's not out.
Okay.
But he'll be out when we go out, up top.
Okay. That makes sense. So let me move him to the side here.
We have a mattress and a bed in these little jailer cells, right?
They have, actually, because these are for prisoners and creatures that they hold here, it is not very comfortable at all. It's actually just some, I guess, piles of leaves with some cloth for a blanket, for like a bed to lay on. And that's it.
Okay. Is there anyone in the jailer's rest area?
No.
Okay.
That is for the jailer to hang out in when someone needs to be watched.
Is there like a gate right here or something? To get in there?
It's actually all open. Yep.
So,
love you.
I'm going to sleep right there.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and have these guys go away for now. Okay. So we pick a room over here. Captain Balazar kind of knocks a bit on this iron door. It's a jail cell. There's these bars. And he kind of raps on it and says, mind if I join you guys? I really don't want to be alone here. And besides, I would definitely like to talk some more with you, Erlon, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Okay. Now, again, Captain Balazar, he definitely feels indebted to you because you found his amulet. So that leaves Theron. You're over here in the Jail Keeper's Rest area.
Yep.
Okay. And you're over there.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just getting all nice and cozy. And Erlon, you're taking a look at this ring that you have on your finger, and you're looking at it, and and just nothing stands out to you. But you think, you know what? I'm just gonna. I need to find out if this is enchanted at all. It doesn't appear to be, but you never know. It could be under some sort of guise or something. So, is that a ritual?
No. It's just I don't know. Let me look. Sorry, it's fifth edition stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It takes 10 minutes to cast.
Right. So that is, it's 10 minutes. If you did it as a ritual, it wouldn't consume a spell slot. Since you're saying that you want to do this right before bed, probably not a big deal. You could just go ahead and cast it.
Okay.
But just so you know in the future, that's nice to know. Okay, so you cast a spell. Let's see. You do not sense any magic coming from the ring at all.
Okay.
You spend an action, to try to analyze this ring, and there's just no aura whatsoever around it. Although you do sense a magical presence coming from the direction of Captain Balazar, which is no surprise to you because he has that magical amulet.
Yeah, he's definitely within 30 feet, so I would sense it.
Yep. So you would sense magic coming from him.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's what's interesting, too. I never really read the spell in detail in 5th edition, because in 2nd edition, right, like you casted it and you just kind of fan out in a cone, and you would just see stuff, like, light up. But this seems like you can sense the presence of it, but it doesn't exactly tell you what is magical unless you spend an action to see the faint aura around a creature or object. So you almost have to be focusing in on something to determine if it's magical.
Yeah.
Within 30 feet of you. So, yeah. So you just feel some magic coming over there from Captain Balazar's direction. You're just assuming.
Which I'm pretty sure it's from that necklace that I found for him.
Yeah. So, you were kind of a little bit excited there, and your hopes just got let down and crushed.
Still an interesting ring with that inscription. I'll have to do some investigation here.
Yeah, it has a symbol on it.
Yeah.
Do you recall what the symbol was?
I don't remember what it was, no.
So
it was 2 play sessions ago.
It was a dark circle surrounded by some wavy lines, which kind of look like it could be the sun.
Okay.
So, yeah. Also, it is the same symbol that is on those coins.
Ah, that's kind of cool.
I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but those coins that we got from those zombies have the same symbol on it. So we finish our long rest. We have an uneventful, fortunately, night, and we are able to sleep, get well rested, and we all recover, because we're level 4 now, we recover 2 hit dice. So go ahead, update your character sheets.
I'm back to full hit dice.
Deadeye's your full hit dice now?
Yep.
Theron, you have 2 hit dice. All right. The morning comes, although we really have no idea what time of day it is. But we were out. We were just completely out. And, we're just resting, reflecting on our travels and things that we have learned. We're level 4 now. But we sleep in. We're completely exhausted. And after a while, Captain Thomond comes and just kind of calls out, and he says, "You guys alive down here?" Gould just kind of lets out a grunt. he's not really wanting to get up. He's not too excited about being in this place, and but he is curious to see maybe more about what this place has to offer. So he just kind of groans out, yeah, we're alive. And Captain Thomond says, well, you guys missed breakfast. Looks like Lady Agatha has got your quarters already. If you'd like to get your things, and I'll show you where it's at.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
And he walks on down and nudges you awake, Theron. Theron, you're nudged awake, and you see Captain Thomond right there. And there actually is kind of a little cot that in this area. You know, it's the jail keeper's rest area, so it definitely has better accommodations than in the holding cells. He says, so you're the lucky one to get the jail keeper's bed, huh?
He says, I guess so.
He says, well, Lady Agatha has your quarters already. If you'd like to follow me, I'm going to show you guys where it's at. And then he comes along, dead eyes. You probably wake up to the sound of, you know, Captain Thomond talking to everyone else. So,
Yeah.
just scroll down. I'm going to... So, of course, we are down in the main hall, and they actually give us okay. Now, in these living quarters, it's kind of military style. They're actually bunk beds. So there's no single beds. They actually have, because, you know, there's a small amount of space down here, but there's quite a few people. So they pretty much have to squeeze in as many people as they can. These rooms are completely more for just sleeping. Like, it's not really for hanging out and, like, doing fun things. Every room is just completely wedged full of beds. And there's a chest that is shared between everyone who is quartered in that room, and then there's just a small little, like a writing desk. And that's it. The rest of the room is just all bed. So each bed can sleep two, you know, stacked up. It's bunk bed. So there's a little bit of space to move around. This room has 3, so we could actually fit one more person in here, because there's only 5 of us. But they put us in this room here. Okay? So, Captain Thomond also hands us each, well, actually, he doesn't have, let's see. Okay. There's only 2 keys to this door, he says. And this is a pretty solid wooden door. Definitely the lock, Erlon, you notice, is a little bit more intricate, surprisingly, than in the holding cells. Just looks a bit fancier of a lock. Captain Thomond asks, I only have 2 keys for this room. The chest is for everyone to put your belongings in, but, you know, the key is just precautionary, so the rooms stay private. But I only have 2 keys to give, so who should I give the keys to? And Captain Thomond actually walks over to Erlon and says, Erlon, you seem like you're the leader of this party. Like, why don't I just give you one?
Okay.
Theron steps up and he says, I would like one, please.
Anybody else want one, I say? I don't care.
So I was just going to suggest that Erline take one.
All right.
Okay. All right, so put on your sheets This is cell number 1. Actually, sorry, not cell. It's living quarters. It's main hall, room number 1, basically. So you could put room number 1 key, Shadow's Hold. This is the first room. So Captain Thomon then says, well, I'll give you a moment to get situated. And he says, we know you've had a rough couple of days, so just rest up. And after dinner tonight, we'll start your orientation. So until then, you're welcome to walk around Shadow's Hold and meet the people. And he says the orientation will be at the registry.
What time?
Right after dinner.
Okay.
So around 9 o'clock.
All right.
Yeah. Well, of course, 9 o'clock. He says some time measurement that we would call 9 o'clock. I don't want to get too fancy about it, but
sure.
Around 9 o'clock. So
it doesn't mean much when you're underground.
Yeah. So that's really like maybe like literally right after dinner. So when the sun goes down, it gets dark and they lock everything up. Like shortly after that's when they have dinner. And then it's literally like right after dinner is when the orientation will be. So, Captain says, so do you guys have any questions for me at the moment before I head off on my duties for the day?
No, I'm good. I think I'm going to spend some time in the library today. So.
Okay. And he looks at you and says, certainly lots of stories are to be had in those books.
Always a student of history, I say.
And he says, well, there's a lot to read in there. And he,
Oh, I'll ask if we can still get food in the kitchen.
He says, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait until around lunchtime, around high sun, when the chefs open up the kitchen again and bring out and prepare the food.
All right.
And he says, by the way, since you haven't had orientation yet, the food isn't going to cost you anything.
Well, that's a bonus.
What does it cost normally?
Depends on what you get, but he says it's usually a few silver. He says, Lady Agatha probably forgot to mention it, but it'll be covered more in your orientation. But everything in Shadow's Hold costs money.
Sure.
So that's how
you keep people doing what they're supposed to.
And he nods at you and says, exactly right, Erlon. And he says, well, I'll leave you guys to it then. And we lose sight of him, and we can hear him just walking down the main hall, and after a while we just, it's complete silence.
Okay, so Deadeye says, okay guys, let's just make sure we skip orientation the whole time we're here.
Erlon laughs out loud.
All right.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to get jobs.
So, Theron, I don't know if this is something that, CJ, this is something I don't know if Theron would bring up or not, but I'm just, in case you forgot about it.
Yeah.
Theron, because it's been a crazy 2 days for these characters, right? With being shipwrecked and being hungry and just wet and drenched, and then, with these zombies coming out at night and being on high alert status and all this stuff that had happened. You still remember when you had requested Erlon to heal you, and he basically just kind of snubbed you and turned a shoulder and went his own way.
Right.
Like, does that, I'm just going to ask you, does that affect Theron in any way? Like, is he mad about that? Does he want to bring it up?
Man.
Does he want to
holding
talk
grudges.
about it?
Oh, no, he won't talk about it.
Well, because I don't think Theron knows why Erlon did that. In fact, I will tell you, he doesn't. Theron does not know why Erlon did that.
No, as far as Theron goes, he's just a big douchebag, so he'll leave it at that.
Theron's a big douchebag?
No, Erlon.
thinks Erlon's a douchebag.
Why do you think Erlon? Why does Theron think Erlon's a douchebag?
He doesn't listen. When he asks for a heal and the healer goes the opposite direction.
So you don't want to mention, like, hey, back there, how come you didn't have my back? So I'm just asking you, I'm giving you an opportunity to talk about it right now. Is Theron going to talk about it at all?
Nope, he wouldn't do that.
Okay. He's just going to stay tight-lipped about it and just...
I have in my personality traits, Theron is a bit uncomfortable talking and expressing himself.
Okay, good call.
There you go.
Good call. Yeah.
So, no. He's just going to hold a grudge, man. Payback's a bitch, I'm telling you. I'm just messing with you.
That's all right.
Yep, that's what he's going to do.
All right.
Yeah, the next time you need a heal from Theron, better watch out.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right, guys. So we're free at this point to split up and go our own separate ways and explore Shadow's Hold, or until basically it becomes dinner time and then the orientation. So what do you guys want to do? I guess I'll just go one by one. So Erlon, you first. You said...
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned that you wanted to go to the library.
Yeah, so I want to go to the library and actually talk with the person in charge of it and kind of get a good sense of it. And I guess in the future, really spend possibly an hour a day kind of in there studying.
Okay.
Really trying to get to know the history of this and really gather as much information from people before me about this place and really try and understand some way that we could either cure this or get out of here, or both.
Right. So I just moved Erlon over to the door of the library. Ghoul.
Oh, and I also want to ask the librarian if she knows or he knows anything about this ring, like the symbol on it and what it means as well. So that's something I'm interested in.
Ghoul is going to... Let's go have a chat with maybe whoever is in charge at the training ground. That seems to intrigue him. Theron, what do you want to do?
He's going to roam and try to find anything that Agatha, when she was roaming around, introducing us to the place, maybe anything she purposely might have missed telling us about. Basically trying to find if there are any secrets.
Right. Okay.
That's what he's going to do.
I'm trying to remember, was it the captain or Lady Agatha that showed us around?
I thought it was Agatha, wasn't it?
Maybe it was. I couldn't remember.
I swore it was Agatha.
Well, okay. So you're just going to roam around looking for secret doors or something?
When we got to that one area where you put that S in, and then I guess you took it off.
We never went in there.
We never went in there.
No, that's her chambers. We can't go in there.
Yeah, see this right here? Agatha's chambers.
Is this room right here her chambers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this room then?
That's where they're digging.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
for the construction where they're making... Right.
They're trying to build additional living quarters because they're growing and they need additional rooms and space.
Well, I mean, Theron's not a creeper. He's not just going to walk in a room. So,
He is a douchebag.
No, that's Erlon. Erlon's the douchebag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Erlon's the douchebag.
Okay. My bad. Got it
Come
mixed
on.
up.
Your douche is right, man. He's going to probably just go to the training ground and see if there's anybody there. Just kind of watch and see how they fight, I guess.
Okay, so you're going to be there around Ghoul then. Okay.
All right.
Deadeyes,
Cool.
What would you like to do?
Hey, Erlon, I think that's a really great idea you had about studying in the library and seeing if there's anything we can glean from what's written in there. Would you could you use a hand?
I would love a hand. Yeah, the more the better.
Okay.
It's like,
All right, well, that's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to help Erlon out reading in the library.
And to your guys' surprise, Captain Balazar actually heads towards the kitchen. And he basically says, you know, he's not one to be reading through piles of books, but he knows a thing or two about cooking. So he wants to just talk with people in charge at the kitchen.
nice.
So that's what he's going to do. Okay. So we have several hours before dinner. So I guess we'll just play through this little bit by little bit. So all of us are pretty much in the workshop district. And Erlon, you get up to the door to the library. Now, as we enter this workshop district, you know, people are definitely busy going about their business. We see these walls right here, you know, with a door right in the middle. And this wall, you know, it's just completely going all the way from floor to ceiling. You know, it's an actual built wall with the door in it, with the frame. But we can hear just from the noises coming from behind the door that people are hard at work. You know, we're hearing banging sounds and chipping sounds coming from behind the stonework door. The woodworking door, we're hearing banging noises as well. The textiles room actually is pretty quiet, but we imagine people are probably working back behind. Yeah, go for it, CJ. Yep,
Is it good now?
It's still there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like a fuzzy, crackly noise when, like, right before you talk, or there's this sound coming through it.
And the registry, there's a door there. We don't hear any noises coming from behind there either. And then there's a hall coming, you know, going toward the metal workers, and we hear banging, clanging noises coming, you know, from this hallway as well. And then we see these test dummies set up in the training ground, and we see this man with these white silver streaks through his dark hair, like calling out orders and telling people, no, it's like this. And he like gets in a defensive position. He's like showing them all sorts of battle stances and maneuvers. And, you know, he's doing with this little wooden sword, he's doing all these thrusts and like all these maneuvers. And there's 3 people that are just looking on, and they're trying to mimic what he does. And Ghoul seems to be just completely eyeing this guy and what looks to be these students and these test dummies just eagerly watching on. And Theron, you see the same thing, you know, come up, I don't know, you stand next to Ghoul?
Yeah, sure.
And Ghoul just mutters, says, "The guy seems to know thinks he knows what he's talking about." And no doubt they've never seen your style of fighting here.
He just shrugged and he said, "Yeah, I've seen better."
All right, Erlon, this door, you try to open it, and it's locked.
Is there anybody besides that guy teaching people in this room that's kind of lingering or doing anything?
Nope. No. In fact, in this whole entire room, in the training ground, all you see, all the doors are closed, and you just see this guy just doing training maneuvers with these 3 other men.
So the door's locked. I'll knock on it. See if that helps.
Okay. Just a few moments after you knock, you hear some clanging noises as the locks turn, and the door cracks open. And she says, "Yes, can I help you?" Actually, hold on. Let me check my notes, make sure who the librarian is here.
I didn't know you knew the knock spell. That worked pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, who does that? It's a guy. Okay, this man shows up and he says, can I help you?
I was wondering if we could take a look at some of your books.
And he looks at you curiously. He says, I've not seen you. He says, oh, you must be Erlon, the healer.
I'm a bard, yes.
Oh, of course. Pardon me, a bard. Says, so you come to feast your eyes upon our knowledge?
Yeah, Dead Eyes and I points to the guy behind him. Says we'd like to take a look at your books.
Okay. Says, well, it's 1 silver per hour.
Okay. And I turn to Dead Eyes and I say, well, how long till lunch is it? I asked the guy.
Just probably about 2 hours. Well, probably an hour. We slept in pretty late, so probably just in about an hour. So
I say, how about an hour for now?
He says, that suits me just fine. And he looks over at Dead Eyes and he says, and you?
1 silver would be fine. I'll hand him a silver from my belt pouch.
I'll hand him a silver as well.
Okay. And out of curiosity, is there anything special about the coins that you're giving him?
Yes, I want to give him one of the coins that matches the symbol on my ring and ask him if he knows this symbol, because I hand it to him.
And he looks at it and he says, oh, of course. And he reaches down into a pouch and you hear clink, a jangling of coins. And he pulls out some coins in his hand and they all have the same symbol. He says, this here is the symbol of Shadow's Hold.
He says, and who would bear a ring in this society of that same mark?
And he looks at you, curiously, he says, a ring? What kind of ring? Do you have this ring?
He lifts his hand up and shows him his ring on his finger. And he says, I found this on a zombie. It bears the same mark.
All right. He has to make an intelligence check.
All right.
That ring, it actually looks familiar, but I don't remember. Seems like I should know what that ring is for. I just can't recall. I'm sorry, Erlon.
No problem.
Says, well, time's a ticking. And he motions you inward. And you guys enter, and he closes the door. Ghoul and Theron, we lose sight of Dead Eyes and Erlon as we saw a door open, and they seem to be conversing with some guy. And this guy, by the way, as we walk in, he says, my name is Lewell. I'm the main librarian here, and I manage this library. And I don't know if you've been told, but this library is probably one of Shadow's Hold's greatest achievements. It's finally complete. And as we walk in, we see all sorts of nice furniture around, like just really comfortable seating areas to basically sit down and enjoy a good book. There's some desks littered around, and there's just shelves and shelves full of books. And again, look over into this area, and it's just completely just stacked full all along the walls of books. And Lewell, the librarian, reinstates basically that, over here is the history of Shadow's Hold. And then all these other tomes are just books that we have found, washed up along the beach, or we've recovered or just found. Just an assortment. Lots of them are just kind of stories. So, depending on what you're looking for.
I would like to see the history books, I say. And I start walking that way.
Okay. And he says, help yourself. They are all organized in chronological order.
So as I come over here, does Dead Eyes come over with me?
Yeah, I'm going to help. Like, when you find a good section, I'll just help you
So as we're searching through the history books, I turn to you and I say, now that I've got you alone, I've been curious about something. He says, my introduction to magic was through a book that I found the book told me secrets of some being. I guess you would call him maybe a fiend. And I garnered some magical abilities from that. As you can see, I can cast some of the same spells as you. He says,
yes, indeed.
He says, tell me about how you work your magic and this being that maybe you follow, if you don't mind.
Well, I wouldn't say I necessarily follow any being so much as I just had an encounter, and it kind of twisted my brain around, and when I came out on the other side, I just knew some things, and every now and then I'm able to sort some of the craziness in my brain out a little bit more, and I learned some more stuff. You've heard the story, I'm sure, about the island where we went to and how messed up things were. Maybe not all the details, but
sure,
bits of it here and there.
Bits of it here and there come along, yeah.
Before that happened, I was just your normal, average, run-of-the-mill sailor. It was actually that entire encounter where these powers started seeping into my being, I guess. It's interesting that you have found similar magics in a very different way from the sounds of it.
Well, it's the only magic that I can cast that is not done through song. He says, but I chose to follow the route of the bard instead. Though I may one day seek more knowledge from this being.
Well, the choice is yours, of course. I would advise caution just from my own experience. It's not always pleasant. Bard is a great and noble profession, though. I've enjoyed many a night's entertainment from them.
Yeah, and as you say that, Dead Eyes, you get chills up your arm, like just goosebumps, as you have this flashback of this memory of you being underwater, being unable to breathe, and this strange foreign voice laughing and cackling in your head saying, not like this. And I don't know, it makes you feel really uncomfortable to think that there's some sort of entity that has focused its attention on you. And, you know, you keep thinking, was I supposed to die, but this entity saved me? Or did I just get lucky? Or, you know, and you get this uneasy feeling, you get these goosebumps as you think about that thought.
Yeah. All right.
Well, and the more Erlon learns about Dead Eyes and like this fiend or whatever it is that he follows, and this other being that Erlon knows about that he learned his magic from, he's thinking that Dead Eyes is right. He may not ever want to go down that path.
Yeah, I would not characterize what I encountered as a fiend. I'm not even sure if it really could be properly described or categorized in our world. We, from the looks of things, there's some ancient, very, very ancient elven ruins, and this was beyond the mists. We were out too far exploring in a place that people should never go.
Yeah, and Erlon, you might have roll me a history check.
Okay. Oh, no.
Yeah, he refers to the mist and stuff, but you have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, okay. All right, cool. Is there anywhere you want to start? So, Lewell mentioned that these books are all organized in chronological order. There is like spaces on the shelves that are empty and bare. No doubt from, you know, looking at the writings on the binding of each book that is up there, they're books yet to be written, basically. So they already have space set aside for, like, you would guess probably easily for the next 20, 30 years of Shadow's Hold.
So are these organized by date?
Chronological, yeah. Year.
He says, he looks at Deadeyes and he says, I could start at the end or the beginning, and you could start at the other. And then we could work toward each other, and as we find something interesting, we could share it.
I was thinking the same thing. I'll go ahead and start at the end.
Okay, I'll start at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys spend an hour. Now, you guys can read at the rate of 1 minute per page. So in the course of 1 hour, you're definitely not going to be able to finish a book.
Sure.
But, you could pick up where you left off last time and continue reading on. But it's probably going to take you, if these are 120-page books, we'll just say it's about 2 hours to complete one book.
Okay.
Which, these are thicker pages, so, it's not like nowadays where you have books that are the sheets of paper so thin that you can have like a 500-page book.
Sure.
These books are more, it's more like thick parchment. And
yeah, I mean, a spell book's 100 pages. And
yeah,
huge.
exactly. A spell book is a pretty thick thing. And that's very similar to what these books are. They're like the size of what you'd expect to see of a spell book. And it's just full of the history, which imagine the day-to-day goings-on of Shadow's Hold per month for the whole year. These books are just that organized. And if they've been here for over 120 years, there's a whole heck of a lot of thick books to read through. So we'll just say 2 hours to get through one book.
And how many books are there?
A lot. I don't know, but there's a lot. I could figure that out for next session if you want me to, but it's going to take a very, very long time to get through all of them.
Okay.
All right, so Erland, are you starting at the beginning and Deadeyes is starting at the end?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys pick up these books. Definitely, Deadeyes, the book that you pick up, you can tell it's definitely newer than all the rest that you see. It's not as worn. Erland, the book that you grab, like you take it with two hands very carefully and you're looking at it, and it's in pretty bad shape. Like you can tell that this book is really, really old. And you open it up and it just, you almost feel like the cover and the pages just want to fall out. But you're just being extremely careful with it. And you just start to read. And Deadeyes, you do the same. So you guys find a place in the library and you sit down and read. Now, we're in the training ground. Ghoul and Theron are both just watching on with all this action going on here in the training ground. And this guy tells his students, this guy with the blackish hair, dark hair with the silver streaks in his hair, he tells his students to go on and finish practicing these maneuvers, and he looks over at us and starts walking our way. And he stands directly in front of us, and he holds an outstretched hand. And he says, "Hello, you are the freshies, I presume?" And he says, "I am Vincent, the combat trainer, and I also manage the hunters. I trust that you slept well." And he's looking at both Theron and Ghoul, and Ghoul just kind of grunts and says, "Yeah, slept good." And he seems to shift uncomfortably and says, "Right." And, he's staring at Ghoul the whole time. And also mind, Ghoul wears this open-faced helm, so he's wearing a helmet. And from a distance, it's harder to see. But now that he's staring at Ghoul more in the face, he seems very kind of nervous. And he keeps on looking at you, Theron. And he says, "So, do you have any questions? Can I help you with something? Perhaps some training lessons?"
I don't know. Theron just looks at Ghoul, see what he thinks.
And Ghoul says, if you think you can teach me something. And he just lets out another one of his ghoulish grunts. And did I already say his name? Vincent? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vincent kind of chuckles and he says, "Oh, you that sure of yourself, are you?" And he says, "Do you want to spar me?" And he pulls out these two wooden short swords. And by the way, Ghoul is definitely wearing his great axe on his back still, and has his hand axes and everything. But Ghoul is no fool. He knows that these are weapons more tailored for quick, dexterous type people. And he is not that whatsoever. But he doesn't really want to back down from a challenge. And a finesse weapon could also be strength, of course. But I don't know, he nudges there and he says, I don't know, Theron might want to.
Theron says, "Of course, I have a lot to learn." And he said, and he's gonna step into the training ground, I guess.
Okay. So you step into the training ground. And Vincent is there.
Do water whip.
Oh, no. That's a good way to get booted out of here.
Yeah.
I thought about it, though.
All right. So this is going to be Vincent. And he hands you a wooden sword. And Ghoul stands back. And, these students all through here just, hitting, we're hearing these smacking sounds of their wooden swords, like hitting these dummies. And what'd you say, CJ?
Oh, Theron takes it. He looks at it for, maybe a couple seconds. And then he chucks it behind him. It's kind of low. He says, "I won't be needing this."
And Vincent looks at you surprisingly and says, "Have you gone mad? Has the shadow plague affected your brain already?" And he says, "What do you plan on to use then?"
I say, "Watch and find out."
Okay.
And he'll take off his robe to reassure he has no other weapons on him.
So what, you're all bare? Are you
not
bare-chested?
Yeah, there you go. He's gonna Jersey Shore this crap. Let's do it.
All right.
Heck yeah, we're gonna do some Mortal Kombat crap right here. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
are we gonna start apart from each other? Like, not kissing distance? Alright.
Yeah, sure. Alright.
I was thinking more like...
So, Vincent says, okay, and he holds his... Well, actually, okay, let's get down this way so we're out of the way of the students.
Okay.
He holds his sword, and he says...
Wooden sword, right?
Says, yeah, wooden sword, okay. Yes. And he says... Now... I don't know what trick you're up to, but there's no running away. You surrender or get knocked out.
He says, fair enough.
Okay. Alrighty. So, roll an initiative check. Okay, you both made it. So let me shuffle. All right, Theron.
Hey.
He's holding his sword like he's ready for you, but yeah, what are you gonna do?
Give me 1 second. I am looking. I think I know what I'm gonna do. Okay.
Are you really gonna use magic?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope. I don't want anyone to know that. Well, besides the people already do. Alright. So, he's going to go in for an attack, basically.
Okay. Move your token.
Yeah, I know. Just give me a second. I'm making sure I have all this down. Alright. Right here. Alright, do it. Is that a hit?
You go to punch him, and he just dodges to the side.
Okay. I'm going to spend 1 bonus key point, and I'm going to use the dodge action.
1 bonus key point? 1 key point for a bonus
key point as a bonus action.
Yeah.
There we go. And that's what I'm going to do. And maybe use dexterity saving throws, yeah.
So, 2. Doesn't, nope. He goes to jab you, and you're just completely focused on dodging, and you just leap to the side. But you think you might see an opening for you to strike with a fist. And as he jabs at you and you dodge, he says, you're a quick one, aren't you?
Thank you. All right. I'm going to go for another attack.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's a hit.
You saw the opening, and you clocked him.
Now, can I go for a... if I tried to go for a knockout punch, that would be probably strength-based, right? Would I have to roll, like...
Punch.
Like, you can choose to, instead of use your damage rolls, to just knock the person out, right?
Yeah, that's if you bring him down to 0.
Oh.
They make that decision when you deal the damage.
All right, I'll deal the damage then. Okay.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna use Flurry of Blows. So let's do another key point.
So you're 2 key points down now.
Okay. All right, here we go. Damn it.
Nope. You go to swing, you think you see a moment, but he just dodges it.
That's a crit.
Oh, that's a crit.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna roll a saving throw real quick for that critical effect.
Okay. Sweet. Looking good.
17. What's it? I'm pretty sure he saved.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's
So
the
no
damage.
critical effect. However, 10 damage.
Right on.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
Alrighty.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. That's it. He's done.
Hey, he smacks you with the wooden sword, and you know it was uncomfortable. You've been taken worse, but he hits you for 4 points of bludgeoning damage, and he brings his sword around, and just like that maneuver he was showing the students, and he reverses it around and comes up, and he tries to just nail you with this sword again. 14. What's your AC? Your AC 16 now, right?
Yep.
Okay, and yeah, he brings it up around, but you duck, and you think you might see another opening right up in his ribs. Yeah.
Right on. All right, gonna attack him.
Okay.
Oh, fuck you. All right.
All right.
I'm
Well,
gonna do another flurry of blows.
he actually kind of baited you with that, kind of leaving himself exposed, but he's ready for it, and you went for it, and he just sidesteps you.
Okay. Fair enough. Another one. Are you kidding me?
Okay, this will be your third key point.
Okay, that was my second attack. I have one more.
Mm-hmm. No, he sidestepped you, and he was ready for you. You know, he advertised it, and you went for it. You took the bait, and he's gonna let you have it now. Oh, and he clocks you right on your ribs for 9 points of damage.
Jeez.
And then you can feel the breath leave your lungs as he hammered you hard. And you're kind of gasping for air, and he's just letting on. Not letting off, I mean. And he just advances further on you and brings... I know an 18 is going to get you. He gets you again. Five. And he says, feel free to surrender at any time. And you're like kind of wobbling and stuff. You're starting to see like blotches of darkness. And, oh, wow. But you might have a moment to recover here.
He's just gonna dodge.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, spending your action to dodge. Just try not to get hit. Oh, a 20, a 16, and a 14.
Hell? Are you freaking kidding? Oh, wait,
No.
Did you roll 20s?
No, 2d20, disadvantage, right? It's 16 and a 14, so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he opts to knock you out.
No freaking way.
And just like that, you're kind of seeing blotches, and you're just trying to avoid not getting hit. But he advances right on you, and he puts his arm right on your shoulder and brings you in, and he just takes the pommel of his wooden sword and just clocks you right across the head, and you go down. And Ghoul begins to laugh and laugh.
I'm just glad you got those good rolls out of the way on a stupid trainer.
Yeah, those are some pretty bad rolls. So you wake up and you see Vincent kneeling over you, and he's kind of motioning you awake, and he has a little cup, a wooden cup there with some water in it, and he's telling you to drink. Like, well, this will help you feel better. Take a drink, Theron.
Well, I mean, he could have killed him if he really was a threat, so I guess, well.
All right, take a sip. Water tastes really, really good. And sure enough, it does kind of refresh you a bit. And you come to, and you know, you have bruises all over you, though. You know, you're in pretty bad shape. Your ribs are sore. Yeah, you definitely got smacked around. He says, well, I can definitely try to help you. There are some things I noticed you did wrong. He says, if you were to do that on the surface against creatures that we fight around here, you'll be lunch for them. He says, but I am impressed. You're quite skilled with your punches. And he says, "Where did you learn to fight like that?"
And he says, his brother.
He says, "Oh, is he here with you?"
It's always with him. He's dead now.
Yeah.
He's got a dashes in his pocket.
Right on. He just kind
What
of
do you
takes
think?
his... Huh?
What, is Theron just like embarrassed now or something, or?
No, he just kind of takes the cup and walks away.
Well, he said, "Is he here with you?" And you said no.
Yeah, he said no. So he's just
Okay.
going to walk away, go meditate, probably right here.
Okay, so you kind of just, yeah. All right. Now, I don't think there's any rules for this, but you were full health before, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of catch your breath.
Or,
We'll just say after, like, you do, like, basically after the end of the hour, the short rest, you're going to be recovered.
okay. I had 24 out of 25.
Okay.
I had one wound.
So you'll be back at 24 at the end of the hour,
Okay.
basically right when lunch starts.
Alright.
And I'm not sure how else to really do that. Probably not fair to make you expend hit dice or to get healing magic and all that.
Yeah,
You know,
we're
it's
training.
sparring,
Whatever. Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, Vincent, as you go over there to kind of tend to your pride, Vincent
Right.
calls out, the students totally stopped doing what they were doing to watch the fight. And he just says, "Now, who can tell me what Theron did wrong? What cost him the fight?" And all three students are just raising up their hands.
You ruled like shit. You ruled like shit.
Yeah.
Something like
But anyways, he just starts on this discussion stuff. Ghoul is just standing there all amused. You look over at Ghoul, and you just kind of see the smirk on his face. But, you've gotten crap from Ghoul this whole time about the way that you fight. You fight with a farm weapon, and it's not a useful way to fight.
Yeah.
So you just see this knowingly smirk on his face as he just glances a gaze your way. And then he looks away, intently listening in on what Vincent is telling the students. And with that, an hour passes, and it is lunchtime. So, Erlon and Deadeyes, you guys finish your, basically get halfway through your books. And let me ask you this. Okay, so as you're reading, are you just more to like learn the history of Shadow's Hold, or is there something specific that you want to try to look for?
Absorbing all of the information. But I think also specifically we're looking for maybe stories of people that have tried to leave, maybe what's happened to them.
Okay.
I don't know what Erlon might be specifically looking for, but Deadeyes will be keeping his eyes out for that specifically, and any information that's specifically talking about the curse and or whatever they call it, shadow plague. I don't remember what they called it, but
Yeah.
Or in groups trying to leave.
Trying to leave, possible cures.
Okay,
More
all
about
that
the
kind of
zombies. Yeah.
All right. Once you guys actually, I'll just have you roll once you finish the book. Once you finish a book, I will have you guys make rolls.
Okay.
I think that'll be easier instead of doing it in piecemeal.
Sure.
Because then I could just set the DC for like based on the book and all that. Yeah. So yeah, the hour's up, and Lewin comes over and says, "How was your reading?"
Good. It'll take some time to get through these books, I say.
Indeed, it will.
And it says, as it does most everybody who seeks to read the history of Shadow's Hold. And you guys leave the library. You look over as you come out, and the door closes behind you. You see Theron over there, just kind of like rubbing his side, and seems he's fully recovered, so it's not like he's dripping with sweat or anything like that. And I think that fight only lasted 24 seconds. I think maybe 4 rounds,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So that's 24 seconds, and you see Vincent right around the time you guys are coming out here. You see this guy tell his students, "All right, we'll take a break. Time for lunch." And the students put their swords down next to the dummies and stuff, and they're just like talking, yeah, lunch, and they start making their way down this hall right here.
Theron wants to have a word with Vincent before we go to lunch.
Okay. Ghoul makes his way over to you guys, Erlon and Deadeyes, and we see Theron approach this Vincent guy and talking to him. But I imagine we all go down to the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay. So you lose sight of all of us, Theron. But yeah, we're just, we're like in the mouth of the hallway basically when you first say, what is it you want to say?
I'll sum it up. He pretty much just wants to know how long Vincent's been fighting and if he would be willing to spar with him a lot more in the future.
And he says, I've been fighting a good while. He says, it's tend to be what we do here in Shadow's Hold. Lots of fighting. And he says, not each other, mind you, but upstairs. And he says, sure, I'd be happy to help you. And he says...
He just wants a second chance to knock his ass out. Yeah. All right, he takes that.
Okay.
We'll go to lunch.
Okay.
Right on.
And attack of opportunity. I'm just kidding.
And he kills you.
Yeah. The crit.
The wooden sword.
That's funny. All right. I'm not going to discuss what happened with Captain Balazar and his communication and stuff. But basically, we get to this the meeting hall, which again, like I said, there's just all sorts of tables here. It's kind of set up like a tavern with tables and chairs. But there's half of this meeting hall is called the kitchen. And that is because it's partitioned off, where there's these separate stations and set of tables and stuff where clearly it's used for preparing food and washing up and cleaning and stuff like that. And Captain Balazar is at one of these tables, and he's just chatting with some lady as we come in. And people seems to have already gotten their food, and they're just kind of scattered, at various tables inside here, having their food. But there's this long table, almost like, I just want to say like it's kind of cafeteria style. Basically, you walk up, you pay. You walk up, and you kind of choose your food, and then you pay at the end of it. So, but there's not really that many choices. So, yeah. Okay, so we walk up, start getting our food. There's like an assortment of plants. There's some of that whitish meat that we see again, that from the night before we had it, and we found out it was spider. And we go through, and we'll go into details of what you eat. We basically get our food. So, are you guys trying to eat as meager as you can? I'll let you guys decide. You can spend a silver on the food, or you can spend 2 silver and get like...
I thought it was free for now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Until the register.
What the hell is this crap?
The orientation.
Come on
My
now.
bad. My bad. Well, I've already had it in my head that everything costs money here. So, all right. So you guys get your food, and they say, "Oh yeah, you're the freshies." You know, great. Take what you want. Blah blah blah. Get your food, and you guys go and take get a table and sit down. Now, Theron, you approach the room, and you reach here just as you see these three guys here talking with someone. They already have like these bowls with food in it, and they start walking over, and we turn over and we see Theron coming. The lone dog.
Right on.
Yeah, and Theron, gets his food. And are you gonna sit at the cool kids table, or?
Where's Vincent sitting at? Is he not eating?
No, he left in a different direction. He is going to eat, but a bit later. He had some other stuff to do.
I guess he'll. He'll probably go sit with Ghoul on the other side of him.
Okay. You sit down and you hear Ghoul telling Erlon a story about how you were sparring Vincent, apparently the combat trainer, and you walk in. You sit down right when you hear Ghoul say,
"Got his ass."
Yeah, so they start to fight, and you sit there and you start eating your food, and you have to listen to the whole recounting of this tale of this little fight and how this Vincent guy kind of baited you, and you went for his gut, and then you basically got your ass kicked.
He says, "The goal I like to see you do better against him."
And he says, I fight for real. I have no use for fake fighting.
He just goes back to eating, man. He's like...
He says, but it was a very good source of entertainment. I thank you for that, Theron. And he just kind of... There's this low rumble as he's just chuckling to himself. And Erlon, you're not sure you've really ever heard Ghoul laugh, but yeah, you're pretty sure he's laughing.
Theron mutters to himself, "Next time will be different."
And he says, hopefully you learned something from that.
He's just going to keep eating. Yep.
All right.
I got my ass kicked. I don't know what to say, man. I can't gloat.
Yeah, you can't gloat. So Captain Balazar comes up with some food, and he says, hey, guys. He says, how was the library?
Oh, we learned it's going to be a long process of spending time there.
And he cocks an eyebrow, and he looks at you and he says, how long?
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of books.
At least months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just see a look of big disappointment come across his face, like months. He says, do you think we can really survive here for months? And he's looking around. He says, these people seem nice enough, but
survive, yes.
I want to get back out on the open water. Yeah.
Hopefully, we won't have to read through the whole thing to find some useful information.
Yeah.
Well, and I also said going to the surface every day will probably do us some good as well, as far as gathering information. There's information to be gathered that way as well.
It's true.
I don't plan on spending every day studying books all day long.
And Captain Balazar says, well, from the sounds of it, I was talking with, let's see, who is it that manages? Beatrice. He says, I was talking with Patrice. She manages the whole kitchen. And sounds like when people, freshies, as they call them, come to Shadow's Hold, there's like different tasks and jobs that are assigned, and it's a way for you to make money. And then there's people who just consign jobs. Like they'll contract, they'll hire themselves out to go do a task for someone. And he says, like, Patrice was telling me that there's a young man who goes and fetches these mushrooms up on the surface during daylight hours, and she pays him money for the mushrooms. And then everyone who eats pays money, to eat the food, and then that's how she's able to afford to pay these people to go out and get supplies. And she's able to make a small profit herself so that she could buy things that she needs. And he says it seems like a pretty, I guess, complicated society here. Like they have, just like Lady Agatha said, this whole economy going.
And I say, you've ran a ship, Captain. You understand that there's always a need to keep people busy so they don't get stir crazy.
Says I do it that.
This is much like being on a ship, Captain.
The wise words, Erlon, wise words. He says, and he looks at Deadeyes and he says, and you know all about that as well.
Yep.
Best to stay busy or you go crazy.
Or drunk, or both.
Now, at this moment, we hear voices coming through the hall from right here. Right there. So there's a voice coming out saying, where is he? Where, is he in there? Is he in there? And someone's saying, yeah, having lunch. And there's this woman who comes running through this hall, and she meets eyes with you, Erlon, and she seems completely relieved as soon as she locks eyes with you, and she runs over, and she says, Erlon, is it?
And I say, yeah. What do you need?
Please come. My grandpa, he's ill. Can you please come and see if you can make him better? Word has it that you have magic. You're able to heal.
Sure, but I can't cure old age.
And she says, please, can you at least see what you can do? He's really sick.
They're charged for it if we're here.
Oh, you're damn right. No, I was definitely thinking that. Well,
You go help him.
I'm not sure I can cure an illness. I can cure wounds, but not an illness.
Who knows, man? If you go help her grandpa, you might be able to get some. Oh, all right.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
I'll follow her.
So you're going to go right now with her?
Am I done eating?
No.
I say, let me finish eating, and I'll be right there. Where do you live?
And room 4 in the main hall.
Okay.
Okay, she says, I'm sorry to bother you, but please hurry. And and she runs off, and you lose sight of her around the corner.
So I'll quickly finish eating.
And Ghoul just kind of mumbles, you're going to be popular here, Erlon.
I'm going to also make lots of money, and I wink at him.
Yeah, and he just nods. And, yeah, so you finish your food. And I'll just, let's just take you all the way.
So I did not take lesser restoration. So I can't cure a disease. I can only cure wounds. So
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I think he's screwed.
and you approach. Let me move the screen here. It'll be easier. There we go. All right. So you're around the corner here. You enter the main hall, and room 4 basically is right here. And you just, I guess, rap on the door.
Yeah.
And the door opens, and there's that young woman that you saw earlier. Opens the door, meets eyes with you, and she just calls out, "He's here! He's here!" And she says, "Make way for him, move!" And she motions you to enter.
All right.
Okay, and you enter, and just like our room, there's these beds all over, but right over here there's a bed. And on the lower bed, you see this old man who has these wet cloths over his head, and he's just laying on the bed. And the room is full of 3 other people. So there's this girl, and then these 3 men who, are just they have these solemn looks on their faces, and they all have what looks to be long swords at their sides.
Okay.
And they're just standing here, and they're just looking, and they're just shaking their head, but they see you come in, and they're just inquisitively looking at you, like waiting to see what you do. And you look, and you see this old man. And what can the medicine check, if you're to do a medicine check, what can that really reveal? Can you determine what he's dying of?
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure it really addresses that. I mean,
Yeah, it may not address that.
yeah. I mean,
Well, let's take a look here.
yeah. I was gonna look it up myself.
Let's you try to stabilize a dying companion or diagnose an illness.
Okay.
Okay, why don't you? So you'll see what you can do.
Yeah. Let me first do a medicine check and see what I can figure out.
Okay.
All right. I'll roll that. Oh, nice.
Yeah, you're getting late.
Whoa. Okay, so you start looking at him. You're feeling his pulse. You're checking his vitals, all these things, and what you can tell is it's just old age. However, you're looking at how old he is, and he's like maybe approaching 70. So maybe 70 years old, and he definitely looks. Well, so let's see. Let me make sure I do my math right here. So 70 years old. Yeah, and it appears to you that he's just dying of old age. But you definitely notice something odd as you were checking his vitals. And because you rolled so freakishly high on your medicine check, I'll just tell you. You see these dark splotches all over his arms and on his legs. And his breathing is just getting really raspy sounding, which, as you know, a lot of people who die from just like old age or whatever, a lot of times they get that raspy breathing.
Yeah.
And, you know that this guy does not have much time at all. Like, he's beyond your healing ability.
So, like, if I did a cure wounds, would that like extend his life at all? I mean, would that give him any more time, or?
You're pretty sure that if you did a cure wounds, that it would not really have any effect on this. But what rises you as curious are these dark splotches all over him.
Sure. Yeah.
And you've never seen that before. But
are there any men in the room? Like, so you said there was those men in the room.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Any of them appear not to be like really, really troubled by this. You know what I mean? As far as like what's going on. Like not completely like
they-
freaking out.
Why don't you do an
Like,
insight?
All right. Just looking for somebody that's a little more calm that I can ask about this crap with. Okay, insight. Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of looking, and she's kind of starting to sob, and she's kind of being a little bit hysterical. And you look over, trying to read something, and these three men just have these stern faces. And
So I'm going to turn to the one closest to me, and I'm going to say, what are these spots on his skin? Does this have to do with the disease that we all get?
And he comes over and he looks at you and says, that'd be the shadow plague.
Okay. He turns to the girl and he says, as I said, I cannot cure old age. He is dying of old age. There's nothing I can do.
And she says, but you haven't even tried. You must do something. You haven't even used your magic.
It's beyond my magical capabilities.
She says, I know magic. I know the stories. Magic can do wondrous things. And she says, can you at least not try to perhaps keep the shadow plague from taking him? Can you extend his life
I cannot.
at all?
I cannot. It's beyond my abilities.
She turns away and she puts her hands on her face and she just starts sobbing uncontrollably.
And I'll get up and walk out.
And you hear one of the men, though, before you walk out, one of the men says, Lynn, you know what must be done. And she just sobs. She says, I know. And one of the men asks you, how much time does he have?
Not long. Not long at all.
And they seem completely not long at all. And
no, he's definitely dying.
One of these men, though, to your surprise, you're kind of you staggered back a little bit as these men just kind of rush in towards this guy, this old man, and they drag him out of the bed, and one of them pulls out the long sword and just strikes it out and down and cuts off the man's head.
Holy shit.
And blood,
crap right there.
Blood sprays on the floor. And she turns, she just says, no! And she's just sobbing uncontrollably. And the first guy who talked to you, Erlon, says, now let's hurry, let's clean this mess up and get him onto the surface. And you're just
asking for 5 gold now.
I'm not asking for money.
That happened all so quick, Erlon, and that you were not expecting these men to just drag the sick old man out of his bed and lop off his head. You're just kind of in Mysticka, that's just something you do not do, right? That is WTF moment, right? Yeah, so I don't. You can have Erlon react however you want with that, but yeah,
he kind of gets why. I mean, he understands it, and I don't know. I don't think he's gonna freak out or anything about what they did. I mean, especially with his alignment. I mean, he's.
Yeah, so he's not going to judge them about it. He realizes it's a harsh life.
It had to be done. Yeah, it's it's what had to be done. I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing.
It's a hard knock life.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah.
I mean.
So you kind of were thinking in your head you would ask for payment for your time and stuff, but she's just sobbing so uncontrollably, and then you see all this pool of blood here at your feet. You're just kind of thinking, I just want to get out of here.
Yeah, he's not going to ask for payment on this.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't. No, unless I do something, I'm not going to ask for payment.
Okay. So do you go back to the kitchen?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. It really didn't take all that long. So when you get, the eatery. So when you get back to the eatery, Theron is just finishing up his food. Everyone else has already finished, but we're just kind of sitting there just talking. about Shadow's Hold and stuff. And you come back, and Ghoul says, back already. Were you able to heal the man?
I said, as I told the lady, I'm not able to cure old age. The man was dying of old age.
And he says, it's too bad.
Is there anybody sitting at the table with us, like any other people besides?
No, it's basically all, we have it all to ourselves. There's other tables around, and people are sitting at those. We do notice, though, that a lot of these people are just kind of staring and casting glances and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, we have their attention, basically. And
he says, I have some things that I learned a little bit from this encounter as well. He says, we'll talk about it tonight in our room.
Yeah, don't get sick.
then there's this, you hear a voice right behind you, Erlon. And this voice says, well, so it's true. Shadow's Hold is no longer safe after all, allowing orcs into Shadow's Hold. And you turn, we turn around and we see this man just having this icy glare staring right at Ghoul. And he has a hand on a longsword.
Is it the same guy?
No, it's a different guy, completely different. You've never seen this guy before, but he's standing there, and he's just giving Ghoul this icy glare. He says, "Word has it that you kill children."
And I turn. I don't even let Ghoul respond. I turn around and I say, "If we wanted to kill children, that child would be dead." And I say, "But I don't plan on speaking any further to the child of a bugbear." And I turn around and sit and go back.
Oh.
I pissed him off.
Yeah.
Right on.
All of a sudden, you feel your head just get knocked forward, and you can tell that he just hit you right in the back of the head with a fist. He says, "I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to this filthy orc sitting here." And Ghoul,
I'm going to hellish rebuke him.
oh shit.
That's awesome.
Oh crap.
He attacked
That's awesome.
Okay.
This may be a bad decision, but
Um,
I'm not going to let somebody do that to me. Oh, I don't know, man. I'll kill him, maybe. 2d10 fire damage. I don't want to kill him. No, I'm not going to.
Can't let people mess with us, man.
Yeah, but I can't just kill him for punching
we'll
me.
say to the warlock there baiting you, like, kill him.
I know, right?
Don't let people pick on us. Flay the skin off of his bones. No, I'm just,
Oh, man, I would.
do you want to do that? You can do it if you want. Do you want to do Hellish Rebuke on him?
I'm not sure what would happen if I killed somebody here, though. I don't want to get us kicked out.
At least
What
not
would
until you
Erlon
have
do,
Lehman's
man?
tiny hut.
Yeah, no.
If we get kicked out, we'd probably just get the hut faster.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, is he wearing armor and stuff?
He's wearing leather armor, yep.
What about any metal?
Just a sword at his side. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not wearing metal armor.
Okay, so I stand up
Okay, Ghoul is going to stand up as well.
and I say, only a coward hits a man from behind. And I stare the guy directly in the face.
And Ghoul pulls out his great axe as his free object interaction. And he stands over right into the guy's face. And he says, "You attacked my friend like a coward." He says, "If you wish to fight, I'll fight you and put you in your place, child." And, he just grins as he's holding very tightly his great axe. And basically intimidation, right? So I'm going to roll an intimidation for Ghoul.
That guy's lucky. I chose not to follow the dark things. The hellish rebuke is that.
Exactly. Intimidation. What? I'm not very good at intimidating.
I'm probably better than you.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Here goes nothing, anyways.
Roll an 18, dude. You'll do good.
Well, here we go.
Oh.
You accidentally let out a fart when you say that.
He's not intimidated at all.
Well, maybe he can bop his insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says all that, and you hear a little.
Oh!
Can you roll
a one? Yes!
Wow.
That actually worked. I don't believe it. Holy crap. His eyes go wide as he looks at this massive great axe that Ghoul is holding with a very tight grip. And his eyes go wide and he takes a step back and says, "You wouldn't dare." And Ghoul says, "You pull what you just did again and you'll find out." And he runs a thumb along the outer blade of his axe. And he just looks up and grins at the guy and says, "Just give me a reason." And the kid, this young man just runs off. He's only like 18 years old. He just runs off, and we lose sight of him as he goes around the corner of the hall right there.
Ooh, he's telling on you. He's telling Mom.
And then Ghoul says, "How long did you say it would take to get through all those books?"
And he looks at Ghoul and he says, "I hate this place as much as you do."
And Ghoul says, "We need to find a way to spend time on the surface." And so we finish our food, and it's past lunchtime, so we have all the way until dinner, basically. So.
Oh,
make sure you mark off your money, by the way, for using the library.
yeah, I did. I took a silver.
Yeah, I did.
What do you guys want to do now? So we just got done with our lunch.
I think today I'll probably spend the next 4 hours or whatever in the library.
Okay.
Just for today, and then I kind of plan on getting up before breakfast an hour before and spending an hour in there before we do whatever jobs we do. So.
Sarah's going to go back to the training area with Vincent's there.
Okay. And during that whole that guy like punching Erlon in the back of the head and stuff, everyone in here kind of just was kind of stunned but more kind of just watching to see what we were going to do. And as soon as he ran away, we could just hear whispering, hush voices, people just talking. Can you believe he did that? Oh, he said he was an orc. Yeah. Just stuff like that. So you and Deadeyes go back to the library, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to finish the book I started. So
Okay.
for that first
I am too, because
hour.
I want to spend some time investigating this ring as well.
Right.
So I only want to finish the book that I was reading.
Okay. So, just mark off another silver.
Okay.
To do. So for the next hour, you guys will read that and finish that book. And then, yeah, I think Ghoul wants to go to the training area as well. Captain Balazar says to you, Theron, says, I want to go relax in our room a bit. Could I have the key to our room, Theron? Like, I forgot to ask Erlon for it.
Who says that?
Captain Balazar.
Yeah, he trusts the captain. He'll give him the key.
Okay. And he says, thank you, Theron. And
He just nods.
he says, I think I need to sleep and perhaps dream of a place far away from here to put my mind at ease. And he kind of chuckles to himself. And he starts leaving down the hall. Okay, so Ghoul is definitely going to go back up to the training area. He wants to watch Vincent at work, basically. Vincent is not Captain Balazar. I'm going to put him over in our room. Okay. Okay, we're back up to the training ground. Vincent is not there, but the students are, no one's there right now, but we're just sitting there waiting, and the students start coming back in from the lunch. And they pick up their swords and they start training some more. So we just kind of, just chill and just watch?
Yep, I'm waiting for Vincent.
Okay. After, about 20 minutes, we see Vincent show up. And he shows up from this hall. And he seems to be holding something. Looks like some sort of, maybe bread, and he's eating it. And he's calling out and saying, yes, that's it. Keep it up. Keep it up. We'll have a sparring match tomorrow. You guys will spar each other to see who's first seat. And, he calls out one of the kids' names, and he says, yeah, that's it. Good job. And, he's just cheering them on, giving, their teacher advice. Yeah, so what do you want to do? Do you see Vincent there?
Is he, leaving?
No, he's standing there. He's munching on his bread.
I'll just wait until he's done with his bread then, see what he does.
Okay. He finishes his bread, and then he comes over and he picks up a wooden sword, and he starts teaching these kids some other maneuvers.
I'll wait until he's done then.
Okay. So an hour goes by, and you guys finish your books. So I need you guys to give me... Boy. I'm wanting to say an investigation check because, I assume you're reading you're looking at the text, reading the story, you're trying to make sense of it, but you're also trying to, find information that would be potentially useful. About the Shadow Plague, about Shadow's Hold, all the things that you guys already described that you want to look for. So I'd imagine that would be an intelligence.
Sure.
Investigation. Yeah, let's just do an investigation. I could kind of see it as a...
Oh.
Ah, man. Dang it. That's one I was hoping you would actually roll awesome on.
Nope.
Good.
Okay, well...
I am... Nope, wait. I'm using the lucky dice.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Okay.
Oh, man. Dang, man.
Thank goodness you have that feat. Oh my gosh. Well, at least Yeah. At least it's not in combat. That'd probably piss you off in combat. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
I could do it twice more. But I'm not going to.
well, gosh. So, Erlon, your book talked about like the beginnings of Shadow's Hold. There's some names in there of some people, but it's really a record of like, it sounds like people were stranded here for some time and they decided to settle. But the beginning of Shadow's Hold seems like it was not underground from what you can read. You know, you don't need to pass a check to figure that out because it's laid out there right in the text. But that's really the only information that really stood out to you.
Okay.
Nothing else, just, yeah. And then Deadeyes, your book that you're reading is, it basically talked about a storm and some, there were some survivors from the shipwreck on the island, but by the time the people from Shadow's Hold got to the survivors, there's only one person left. And this one person was kind of a troublemaker, and they put him in the holding cells, and then they booted him out. They kicked him out of Shadow's Hold. They deemed that he was too much of a threat to everyone else and their way of life. So they exiled him. And that's really the only story from that last book that really stood out to you.
Okay.
Nothing else. So, yeah, so you guys exit the library.
I want to go to the metal workers area.
Okay, Deadeyes, you want to go with Erlon?
I actually do.
Okay, excellent. So, Erlon, you head up towards the metal workers. And yeah, there's like this central forge right here, and there's some banging noises and whatnot. And you see, like in these rooms here, you see up on the walls, you see all manner of weapons. And over here, you see like these logs set up as kind of like mannequins with these various suits of armor, like kind of just placed on these wooden dummies. And apparently, all this stuff is for sale because, this is like a shop. I didn't draw it on the map, but there's like a counter type area, like running right across here and one across here. And there's like a little gate, but there's also a piece up top that will come down and it can lock. And it can actually shut off this whole entire area. No doubt when the shops close for the night, they get locked up. So I just didn't put the doors in. But yeah, you see several people here working. And let's see, off to your left, in the weaponry, you see a man who's sitting there. He's actually standing right here, and there's an anvil, and he's just taking his hammer to this blade, and he's just sitting there, ting, 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 and this blade is just completely red hot. And there's these buckets of water surrounding him, and he's just sitting there, and he's just sweating, like crazy, and he's just ting. And you look over here in the armory, and there is a woman. To your surprise, there's a woman over there adjusting these suits of armor, running like, apparently it looks to be like some stitching and stuff through some of these armor pieces, and holding them up on these wooden logs, serving as mannequins. And you guys approach, and they just seem to be really busy with their work.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother the guy with the red hot sword, but I'll go up to the lady
Okay.
and I'll say, pardon me, ma'am. May I ask you a couple questions?
Okay. So there's this counter right here that is kind of blocking you from walking further in.
Sure.
There's kind of like a little waist-high gate that's there. And so what was it you said to her?
I say, pardon me, ma'am. May I ask you a couple questions?
Okay. She kind of lets out a jump. Like, oh, I didn't recognize someone was there. And she says, yeah, what can I help you with?
He says, do any of you here happen to make jewelry?
Jewelry? No. No one has any need for jewelry in Shadow's Hold. It's really just armor and weapons and other useful things. Jewelry is just pretty to look at.
He says, I found a curious ring on some zombies that were dressed in the same manner of clothing as the people of Shadow's Hold. And they had the same mark as your coins. I was wondering if you might know something about this ring.
And she says, she seems to be staring off into the distance. Her mind is somewhere else. And she's not responding to you.
I think she might have had a stroke, dude.
Yeah, right. And I say, is that a no? Kind of curious.
And she says, what? Sorry, you found a ring? And she says, I'm sorry. Can I see the ring?
I say, sure. And I set it on the counter in front of her.
Okay, give me an insight check.
All right. Ooh. Kind of mediocre.
She wasn't exactly trying to hide this, but you see a look of recognition come across her face as she picks up this ring, and her mouth is just completely agape open, and she's looking at it, and she says, "Where did you find this?"
I told you it was on the body of a zombie.
And you see her eyes starting to tear up.
And I say, what does this ring mean to you? Is this someone you loved that carried this?
And she says, and you can tell she's trying to contain herself. And she says, and she says, this was my husband's ring. I made it for him. She says, this year we would have been married 5 years. And she says, yeah, jewelry is not made here, but I made this when my husband and I were wed. And she says, and you say he was a zombie.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, you see a single tear just run down her cheek. You know, she just can't help it. And she starts sniffling, and she says, I always thought that maybe he would come back, that somehow he survived. But I guess this gives me closure.
I said, well, at least he no longer roams as one of the undead on this island.
And she says, what is your name?
I am Erlon. Erlon Blackleaf.
She says, I am a henna. She says, I'm the main armor smith, and I'm a maker of tools for Shadow's Hold. And she says, I do not know how I can possibly thank you. She's saying, can I have this ring?
Finders keepers, man.
I do realize you found it. Can I please have my husband's ring back?
Damn, man. You put me in a bind because, I mean, I'd be an asshole if I didn't get it to her.
Well, Theron thinks you're a douchebag.
Well, yeah. Oh.
What would Erlon do, man? Does he have a heart?
I mean,
she is being legit, right? I mean, obviously, with her emotions.
I mean, according to your insight, yeah, she seems totally, And you're kind of piecing it together, you know, when you first mentioned it, and this ring and stuff and jewelry. And she spaced off as if she was thinking about some distant memory. And then, you know, as you described the ring and showed it to her, you know, she's just complete disbelief.
Well, yeah, I'm sobbing. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard for somebody to fake that. All right. He says, of course, if it belonged to your husband, I would gladly give it back to him.
And she opens up the gate, and she comes up, and she holds out. She comes up, and I guess you already gave her the ring to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So she clenches the ring, but she comes up, and she just gives you the biggest hug. And she just kind of holds you for like, you know, a 10-second hug, and she's just kind of sobbing. And she says, "Thank you, Erlon. Thank you so much." She says, "I don't know how I can ever repay you." And then she stops, and you can see that she's thinking about something.
Oh, man.
And she says, "No, I think I can repay you. I hope this is enough." And she goes like this, and she pulls what seems to be like a necklace, like the rope part of a necklace, and she pulls it up, and out from underneath her shirt is about the size of a coin. There is a silver skull, completely silver. And the silver skull, you know, it doesn't have glowing eyes or gems in the eyes or anything like that, but it looks like a human skull. It's the size of a coin, and it's completely silver. And she grabs your hand, and she just, she places it into your hand, and she says, "Please accept this." And she says, "It's the least I can do."
And I kind of look at it and look at her. And I mean, it's a skull necklace. He's like, "Thank you."
And she looks at you. You're looking in her eyes, and you know she has these tears still kind of coming out of her eyes. And she goes in and gives you another big hug, but she whispers something in your ear, and she says, "It's magical, Erlon. It's magic." And she says that if you were to wear that, or she says, when you wear it, if you're ever feeling great need, then just simply say the word Lemdul, and luck will be on your side.
Nice.
Okay, so what this is, it's a wondrous item. It's called a lucky charm. And it is the type 1 variant, which what this is, with a bonus action, you can activate the charm. A reaction or a bonus. You can activate it to give you advantage on any attack roll, saving throw, or ability check.
Nice.
Once that ability has been used, it cannot be used again until the following dawn. So at sunrise, it's recharged. So you basically get, you know, spending a bonus or a reaction, you get to take advantage on any attack roll, saving throw, or ability check once per day.
Cool.
Yeah, and so, yeah, she whispers all that in your ear. And Deadeye's, what it looks to you, she gives him another big embrace, you know, a little bit longer than the first. And, you know, you saw that she put something in his hand. Yeah, I guess roll a perception and see if you overhear what she told him. Fortunately, no. You did not catch anything. As far as you could tell, she was just giving him another warm embrace. Maybe gave him a coin or something, and couldn't really tell.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe you were more looking at the guy hammering the sword and like the 2 workers in the weaponry that are also working. I don't know. Maybe you're just kind of looking around, not paying attention to this heartfelt moment.
Yeah, I'm planning on going over to the weaponsmith. So
Yeah.
So Erlon tells her, he says, "You're far too kind, ma'am," as they release their embrace. And says, "I am sorry for your loss."
And she says, "Thank you, Erlon."
He says, "If there's ever anything you need, let me know."
And she nods at you and she says, "And you the same. Anything you need." She says, "I stay over in the nobleman's hall." And she says, "You just let me know, Erlon Blackleaf. You just let me know."
He says, "Well, actually, do you have any studded leather armor?"
Studded leather. Let me see.
Why we're talking about it.
Yeah. She says, "I do. In fact, a set that I just made." And to your surprise, the armor that she was fastening to this mannequin is actually a suit of studded leather armor.
He says, "How much for it?"
And just to keep things simple, I decided all these prices were going to be the same as in the player's handbook.
So it's 45 gold.
Yep, so 45 gold. Which actually, for the wages and stuff, you know, paying 45 gold for a suit of armor, that would take someone a long time to save up that much money. But it also cost her a lot of money in consignment work to get all the materials to be able to make it. So, you know, I figure, you know, I'll just keep the prices the same. So, yeah, 45 gold. Do you want to, and she says, "Are you interested in buying?"
He said, "Would you be interested in the suit of armor I'm wearing? We can do a trade plus some money."
And, and of course, by the way, I forgot this is important.
Yeah.
All these weapons and all this armor all have the same greenish tint to it. Even the swords and the metal. It's like Shadow's Hold has completely taken this green theme all out. And, you know, these swords, like, they actually kind of look like this deeper green color, but they look really, really cool looking. But yeah, even the studded armor, the leather armor, all the armor that's in here has that same greenish color to it.
Okay.
Why don't you roll a persuasion? Are you going to try to persuade her to take your armor?
Yeah.
Okay. She says, "I'm normally not interested." Oh my gosh. Just
yeah.
How old is Erlon?
Pretty young, dude. He's like 18.
17.
17, yeah.
Well, she's 25.
That's all right. I like older ladies.
Yeah. Wow. You get the sense that she's like kind of infatuated with you.
I've already been here one day and I already got a girlfriend.
Wow. Well, you're a bard, right?
That's right.
Treated the bard way.
That's right.
She just says, "I normally wouldn't buy anybody's filthy used armor, but for you, Erlon, anything." And she says, "I'll be happy to give you." She says, "I still have to break even on this suit of armor. So I will give you," I don't know, how much is what are you wearing right now? Just leather?
Just leather, yeah. I honestly don't know what it's worth. I'll have to look.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Oh, okay.
So I have no idea either.
Leather is 10 gold for leather.
Yeah, and it's not like it's brand new either. So
She says, I'll give you 5 gold off.
And I say, you are as kind as you are beautiful, madame.
There you go. Heck yeah.
And she kind of giggles to herself as she's still kind of like sniffling her nose because she was sobbing.
So I need to take off 20 gold or 40 gold, right?
Yep, 40 gold.
So I'll be at
And you have a suit of studded.
Yeah.
And so you don't forget, I noticed on your character sheet you put Skull Necklace Lucky. You might want to put the effect in.
There's no way to do that. Oh, over here. Yeah.
Well, you could do it on Treasure.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, yeah. By the way, I rolled to see what she would think about you.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 1, which meaning like compared to your persuasion stuff, like she is really, really infatuated with you. Like
Told her you're getting late tonight, man. Come on. Echo! Oh. Right on.
Oh, man. All right. So, Erlon, you deal with that. Deadeyes, is there anyone you wanted to speak with or anything you wanted to do?
While Erlon is having his fun time over there, I want to talk to the weaponsmith and talk to him about selling my light crossbow and a dagger and my ammunition.
Yeah, not like you really need that anymore, huh?
Yep.
And, okay, the weaponsmith. His name is Gowan. But yeah, he looks up and he's hammering and he says, can I help you with something? He says, you're one of the freshies, aren't you?
I suppose. I've got a brand new, never used light crossbow that I'd like to sell, and 20 bolts that go with it, and a dagger.
Good hunting tools. And he says, you won't be needing them?
Nope.
And he says, well, I certainly hope you didn't decide to work under Rewan.
And Deadeyes gets a confused face and just says, who?
Rewan. You know, the lady that is in charge of all the cleaning at Shadow's Hold. Says, oh, nope. maybe you're a freshie. Maybe you haven't met her yet.
I don't believe so, at least not formally.
Says, that's how the Shadow's Hold stays clean, free from disease. It's Rewan's job and her crew to make sure that the place stays clean. Have to clean the latrines every so often.
Yeah.
And no one wants to do that.
No. Hope they get paid well for that.
Not as much as they want. And he says, but working with metal, that's true skill right there.
Indeed it is.
And let's see. So it's a light crossbow?
Yep, a light crossbow, not a hand crossbow, and 1 dagger.
Okay. Make a persuasion check. And I'm going to have him do an opposing insight. And he says, are you a wizard of some kind?
I can toss around a few spells.
And he says, that makes sense, I suppose. Magic, I would much prefer to throw out magic on my enemies any day other than shooting a crossbow around. And he says, I'll be willing to give you... How much is the ammunition?
Um,
Do you still want your crossbow bolt case?
nope.
I know. I carry a light crossbow as well. I've never used it, like, ever.
That's because you have Eldritch Blast.
I know. I don't even see a place where I would use it. No.
Okay, how many bolts was it that you had? 20?
Yeah, 20.
And you have a case and a dagger?
Yep.
And he says, well, I think you're right. These are in pretty good condition. I'll give you 10 gold for all of it.
All right, that's fair enough. 10 gold will do me a lot more good than they will.
Okay. And
Plus, they might save someone else's life.
And he nods and he says, true at that. He says, what did you say your name was?
My name is Wick, but most people call me Deadeyes.
Deadeyes. That's an interesting name. Why would they call you Deadeyes?
It's literally a long story.
Maybe you'll have to tell me it sometime. Not like any of us are going anywhere anytime soon. And he kind of laughs to himself.
Yep.
And so, yeah, he gives you 10 gold. So add that to your character sheet. You can remove the bolts if you had the crossbow bolt case and the dagger. And
You sold him your dagger as well?
yeah.
Yeah, I had 2, so I kept 1 for cutting apples.
I had 2 as well, and I gave 1 to Captain Buzz.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Oops, that was an accident.
What the crap?
23.
Why is my armor class all messed up?
Yeah, I have that your armor class is. Oh,
15.
wait. I need the. So you did +2 to charisma because at 4th level you did ability score improvement.
Yeah.
So you have a +4 charisma.
Yeah. And then I should have a 15 armor class, but I switched it and it changed it on me.
I have that you have a 14.
Yeah, I just bought studded leather though. It added 1.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Can't believe I rolled a 20 on an accidental roll. That just figures.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so. All right. Nice. So you have a +6 to your spell attacks, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. Except Eldritch Blast, though.
Yeah. Yep. I know that.
Oh, wait. No, you do with Eldritch Blast, right?
Yeah, because it
That's
still
charisma.
uses it does.
Yeah,
Because
it's
it still uses
charisma.
the same skill.
Charisma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. +6.
Yep.
That's dang nice. Okay. So, yeah, you hand him over the stuff, and he thanks you, and yeah, he says his name's Gowan, and he has 2 workers there that are working on making weapons. So,
Well, good day to you, Growlin, and perhaps we'll share a mug of ale some night and we can swap stories.
I look forward to it, Deadeyes.
Okay, then I'm going to turn to the armory.
Yeah, and
And,
Erlon, you had noticed, you saw Deadeyes finish up his transaction there as he handed over all these crossbow bolts and the light crossbow and a dagger, and yeah, Ahenna is back to work on her armory. But yeah, Deadeyes, you walk over.
Yeah, I'll say, excuse me, Henna, was it?
Yep. And she says, "Yeah, can I help you, friend of Erlon?"
Indeed, we are friends. I was wondering if you have a suit of studded leather armor on hand. All right.
She says, I only had one suit and I just sold it to Erlon. She says, I can work on making another one, but it'll take me maybe a couple weeks to get it finished.
I think you've got the time, man.
Well, if you were planning on making one anyway, it's not a bad idea. I would buy it from you.
She says, that's good to know. And she says, yeah, I'll have to consign out the work and get the materials, and I'll yeah,
All right, I understand.
I'll start work on it right away as soon as I can.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. And
I didn't know warlocks could wear armor.
yeah,
cool.
light armor.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Okay. Erlon, did you want to talk to the weapon smith at all?
I thought about selling my crossbow, but I don't know. I'll hang on to it for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys come up here, and you still see, after all that, Theron and Ghoul standing over there, just intently watching Vincent. You know, he's like doing all these like battle moves, just like leaping all over the place. You know, with all these students watching on, he's kind of just doing practice sparring with each one of them and just training them. But you have a few hours left until dinner time. So
as I switched my armor out, I discreetly put on that necklace as well.
right.
So,
Okay. So you guys kind of walk around because the middle is, you know, being used. So I don't know, walk over towards Theron and Ghoul.
yeah. Go stand
How
there
long
for
was it before dinner? I missed that.
a couple hours.
Probably like 4 hours until dinner.
Okay. I actually think I'm going to go back to the library.
I say I'll be there in a few minutes. And go
Okay.
stand next to Ghoul.
Okay. How many hours do you want to read for then? 4?
Yep. I'll do 4.
Okay. Librarian meets you and mark off 4 silver.
Okay.
So 4 hours, that'll be 2 books.
Yeah, I think I'll go do the same thing. I changed my mind. I'll go with it.
Oh, you're not gonna talk?
No, I think I'll go because I want to try and figure this out too.
Okay. So you both going together then. So mark off 4 silver.
So 10 gold. Oh, 1 gold equals 10 silver, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have to give the guy a gold and get my change.
Okay. Theron, you were waiting for Vincent to get done, but he seems to be occupied with these trainees, and you know he's working up. You know he's basically giving them a heck of a workout. They're all completely, you know, breathing hard, all sweaty, and you know he starts yelling at them when they like kind of start messing up. He's like, "You think those creatures up on the surface are gonna get tired?" It's like, "Come on, get back up, get back up." And he just starts yelling at him, and you know he's just motivating them to just push through it. And you know you're just watching through the whole thing. Anything else did you want to interrupt him with anything, or you just want to wait and watch?
Nope, he's gonna wait till he's done.
Okay. All right. So if no one else has anything else going on, 4 hours pass by. And let's see, the date is it 6/12?
You want us to roll investigation for each book, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah, it's going to be each book. Yeah, I think it's actually 612 on this day, right? Okay, hold on. Let me think about. I should probably log this here. So 610 is when we woke up on the beach. So 611 is the day we arrived at Shadow's Hold, right? Yeah, because we spent one night.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's 612, which is the first day of the blood moon. Okay. Yeah, 4 hours go by. Theron, during this 4-hour period, the training's basically over, and Vincent and all these guys are like cleaning up the whole training ground and stuff and getting their things, and you could tell that they're, this big long class is over. So did you want to approach him with anything?
Yeah, he'll approach him.
Okay.
And he'll say, we'll have enough energy for another round.
And he's breathing pretty hard. And he says, and he puts a hand on your shoulder. Says, "Oh, not today, Theron." Says, "Maybe tomorrow."
He wants
All right.
revenge.
You'll just give a nod and walk back to where you was sitting then.
And he says, I do assume you would rather try me when I'm not exhausted.
And he says, of course, I wouldn't have it any other way.
All right. Okay. So basically you lose sight of Vincent. And all right, so we'll come to the end of the 4-hour period. Let's do, so both of you got through 2 books. Do 2 investigation checks, but first let's just do book 1 for both of you. Okay.
All right, it's just a D20 for me. I'm going to use a die.
Lucky.
Yep. Wow. Well, I'm going to choose to take the first one. Not that it matters.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Get these bad rolls out now, man.
Yeah. Holy crap.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
know
all
you
right.
have to be pissed right now. I shouldn't be laughing, but
No, I'm not upset at all.
I mean, you use the lucky feat and you roll a freaking 1.
Yeah,
What the heck?
that happens.
I've never seen anybody roll more 1s than you on this roll 20.
It's true.
It's ridiculous. I don't get it. Okay, well, again, so Mike, Deadeyes, as he reads this first book of 2, which is his second book that he's reading, starting at the most recent, just a bunch of logs of just normal day-to-day activities. There's a few notes here and there about money that's in the economy. Seems Lady Agatha really kind of keeps a tight ship in terms of basically more money was commissioned for the metal workers to create some more coins. So, more gold and silver, more currency. Apparently they kind of keep tabs on all the money that's out there being traded. It's definitely not like a printing press that's just, printing off tons of money constantly. but they're keeping the supply of money at a good, healthy level to make sure that everybody's happy in Shadow's Hold. And that's really all you really got out of that book. Other stuff is just really boring details to you.
That was all boring details, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Erlon, you read your second book, which for this sit-down session here, it's book 2, or book 1. Let's see what the 16... Basically, the story is, Shadow's Hold decides to... it wasn't called Shadow's Hold in the very beginning, but at some point, this book kind of refers to, like, it's trying to catch up on lost history that wasn't written about before. So that's... A lot of it is just writings from people at that time that were talking about things that had happened years earlier but were never recorded because someone apparently decided, hey, we need to, since we're now like a settlement and like a community, we need to start keeping track of our history. And so people that were alive at the time were just writing things down, and there's different handwritings and different notes and letters that were like scribed into this book. And it's just stories to you about things happening before Shadow's Hold. Just stories that people didn't want to get forgotten. Now, the stories, there's one story that kind of piques your interest, and that is one that's talking about elves being on the islands.
Elves?
Elves, yeah.
Huh. Like a lot, like living here?
Yeah, like elves. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So there's elven settlements? Or were they just survivors from shipwrecks?
It was just in a story. One of the stories, it was talking about appointed-eared elven folk. And it really didn't go into too much detail, so you really have no idea.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah,
I
definitely
show it to Dead Eyes. Look at this. It was elves living here.
Yeah, long time ago.
That's kind of weird.
And again, this is one of those writings that someone thought it was worth mentioning, but it was before the time of Shadow's Hold.
Okay.
So.
Elves live for a long time, so they either all died or moved.
Yep.
Well, so that's the thing too, by the way. Since we're from Mysticka, we have never ever seen an elf. Elves do not exist on the entire continent whatsoever, and haven't for a very long time, especially in human standards.
My captain was a gnome. Are you sure I haven't seen an elf?
Yeah. Yeah. No elves. There's no elves on that continent that we're from.
Well, I mean, I've been in a lot of places.
Yes, you have, but you're also level 1, and...
Well, now.
Well, now.
And actually, I'm not level 1, I'm level 4.
Well, if you did, you probably don't remember it.
Okay.
But you actually, no, you wouldn't have seen elves. There's no way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I can't think of a single place that you would have been to. Yeah. I mean, the Hawkish Valley is just way too surrounded by mountains and everything else. I really don't see that being a possibility. So anyways, I was going to say elves with people in Mysticka are kind of more like legends and stories, kind of like...
Yeah.
Like folk tales, talking about headless horsemen and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, they're not really real. They're just stories kind of made up. They make good bedtime tales. But okay, let's do the next book now. that you guys get through in this 4-hour period.
Can I use my
Investigation.
necklace on this roll?
If you would like.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Good idea.
All right. So I'll just roll twice here.
As you say, Lemdor.
Yeah. Let me roll one more.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
holy crap. Holy crap.
Right on, Jared.
Jeez. Okay, so Deadeyes, roll yours. Holy crap, Jared.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Very nice. Okay, let's start with you, Erlon. Oh boy, how much information to divulge here? Let's see.
I want to know it all. Just kidding.
Well, this would have been back from the perspective of way back when. But this is the next book, so this is like the next year. So the book that you last read was more about different, it was like a catalog of a bunch of people's stories. So this next book is more really about Shadow's Hold, like digging into the ground to fortify themselves because they know that they're probably going to perish if they stay up on the surface. So the best place to fortify themselves, they figure they're going to start digging and live in like basically a cave. Now, the thing that really stands out to you while reading this is there's references to like the consuming shadow and the shadow consuming, like basically consuming all. And you even catch a part where it basically infers that, a normal person just reading this definitely would not really catch it, but you're kind of, you're drawing the lines together here, like thinking, connecting the dots. And you infer that, yeah, the previous one mentioned these elves and stuff, but then, no, these are no ordinary elves. These are elves that have been consumed by the shadow. And there's also other fae folk and fae creatures that lived on these islands peaceably for many years, but because of this consuming shadow, basically had started corrupting everything.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is this corruption started, you're piecing together the timeline and everything, like a master scholar. And this was long before, it had to have been long before the coming of the gods, even. So this shadow had a firm grip on, was consuming and getting a firm grip on these islands before the coming of the gods, which was 157 years ago. Which is a long time for humans, but,
Yeah.
And again, because this is from the perspective of that way back when, that's all you can really glean from that tome.
I share it with Deadeyes.
But I will tell you, that is like amazing information that you have uncovered right there.
Well, I'm starting to get a bad feeling if all these Fae folk can't figure out how to stop this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And then, Deadeyes, you get done with your book. And this is more recent day. So, again, there was a storm, and there was some people who were shipwrecked, and there was about 6 people who were recovered. And they made it to Shadow's Hold. 2 of them eventually went crazy, and they had to exile them.
They just got stir crazy, or?
Yeah, and this is kind of what strikes you as odd. And you're noticing that, wait, there's more people that went crazy here, and then they exiled them. So, like, you don't know if it has something to do with anything, but you just notice that it seems like when people come to Shadow's Hold, some of them tend to go crazy. And when they start posing a threat to Shadow's Hold, they basically give them the boot up to the surface because they're too dangerous. So that strikes you as odd. But there was also mention of some people who came, and one was a wizard. And it even mentions the man's name of...
Mister?
Wizard Sorellin. So Sorellin, Syrellan, Wizard Sorellin was on the ship that got shipwrecked, and he made it here, and he did exactly what you guys are doing. Talks about how he read through the archives and all these other stories, and he pieced together that he thought he knew how to cure the Shadow Plague, which would be like the first step of these people being able to get off this island. So well, you rolled a 19, so I'll just tell you. So he got a party together of the bravest, and they ventured out. And, they said that when they discovered the cure, they would come back for the rest of the people and cure them of it. But they never came back.
How long ago was this? A few years?
2 years ago now.
2 years ago.
Yeah. And already you're catching the sense that, around every certain time, like there's 2 times a year that you know of that are pretty stormy on the seas, with like tropical storms and hurricanes, like in the fall and like in the spring. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a lot of these storms, when there's like a tropical storm or hurricane, a lot of these people get shipwrecked on this island and they get stuck. And those that survive the night make it to Shadow's Hold. Some go crazy. Some think, hey, we're going to go discover the cure, and they go off, and they're never seen again or heard from again.
All right.
So,
I'll share a lot of this with Burlon about Sorellin. And so maybe we should ask around about her a little bit, but it's looking kind of grim.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that's what you guys uncover with those books, which was actually a lot of information.
Yeah. Now, if I hadn't rolled that 20 on a dagger accidental click.
Yeah. Now, hopefully, you guys, just continue to roll good, and you'll get more and more information.
Gotta
put some things together.
So it's now dinner time. Share the stuff with Ghoul and Theron over dinner and the captain.
Okay. Yep. So just to speed things along because it's getting kind of late here, so we need to wrap it up. But so we have dinner. Same place. The food is free for us for this night. And Theron and Ghoul, we hear about their findings from reading these books. And it sounds very bleak indeed. And, Captain Balazar, he's there too, and he's just like rubbing his forehead. He's like, well, if so many have done it before us, thinking there's a cure and they're never heard or seen from again, what makes us think we can do the same?
I'll say, it's possible that they're never heard or seen from again because they got off. There might be a way that you can maybe cure yourself and get off the island, but not necessarily help anyone else. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I say I'd much rather look than sit on my hands and do nothing.
And Captain Balazar says, wise words, Erlon. He says, well, if you guys find a way to discover how to get off this bloody place, I definitely want to be there when it happens, even if it means traveling with you. and assisting in any way I can. Okay, so we have our dinner. Again, people are staring and whispering and stuff, but it's not like the whole entire all of Shadow's Hold is having dinner at the same exact time.
Okay.
Dinner goes for like a good hour and a half period. So until everything is like
I want
cleaned up.
to eat quickly, and then I want to start playing some music for the room, kind of entertain them.
Okay, so you like stand off in like a corner?
Yeah.
And kind of just start playing your sham?
Yep.
And you see Ahina walk in as you're performing, and she locks eyes with you, and she just gives you this big beaming smile. And she holds up her hand, and you can see the gold ring, and she just caresses the ring on her finger. And she smiles at you, and she just smiles at you and gives you this really warm, welcoming smile, and she goes off and collects her food. And she sits down, pretty close to you, and she's eating and just like watching you play.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, so we have our dinner. You do have some interaction with Ahina. When you get done playing, she comes up to you and she compliments your playing. Actually, why don't you do a performance?
All right.
Is there a performance check?
There is, actually. I'm
Yeah.
very good at
Why
it.
don't you roll? Let's see if you hit any sour notes.
Oh, crap.
Well, you didn't do that. You didn't do very good, but for those who are trained in the ways, it definitely think, wow, like maybe you got some water damage on your weapon, or not on your weapons, but on your instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's slightly warped. But yeah, it's
average.
kind of playing a little bit sharp there, and a lot of those.
It's a good thing I got a +8.
Yeah, exactly. But for people who are definitely not trained in the ways of music, they couldn't really catch all those little errors. But you were kind of cringing as you were playing when you're hearing all these sour notes being played, and you're just like, oh man. So you're kind of thinking hopefully maybe someone can make you a new sham, perhaps.
Yeah. Actually, it's not a bad
just
idea.
something to.
Or a lute. I'd rather have a lute back.
Yeah, because I think your sham is warped.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's not playing right, so you might want to get.
I lost my drums and my
Your lute, and now your sham is just completely ruined.
Yeah.
But it did the job. It made people pretty happy, and especially Ahina was still impressed.
Well, yeah. I'll have to go to the woodworkers and see if they can make me a lute.
Yep. All right, so now we go to the registry, and we get in there, and there's two women. One of them is Lady Agatha, and the other is, she introduces herself as Celia, and she is the scribe and record keeper, and she's kind of sitting off to the side, and there's these chairs. Oh, let me move I'm not going to move our tokens up there. Just use your imagination here. So we're in the registry, and there's Lady Agatha in here. There's several desks and chests of paper. And there's this woman sitting here called Celia, and she's the scribe and record keeper. And the whole time that Agatha, you guys notice the whole time that you guys are talking with Agatha and stuff, she's just constantly writing and taking notes, basically. Deadeyes, and you definitely notice that, if you were, I guess, to see her handwriting, it would be very similar to that which you had just read in those books. So she's apparently the one.
Just writing them.
Well, hold on. Make me a perception check. I better not just assume that. Let's let the dice tell the story here. Roll me a perception. You have no idea who wrote those. In fact, you didn't even think of looking at her handwriting to see if she was even the person that even wrote that those tomes. So,
Okay.
never mind. It just didn't occur to Deadeyes to look for that. So, however, Lady Agatha bids us to take a seat, and she says, "So, how was your first day in Shadow's Hold?"
Who's Sorelling?
Just blurt it out. That's awesome.
Yep.
Roll me an insight.
Me or Ron?
Yeah, you. No, just
All right.
you. You're the one that blurted it out, so I'd say it's you.
Nice job.
Wow.
You see a look of distaste cross her face just momentarily. And
Dude, you have a -1 and you. Nice job.
yeah, he totally owns that. And she says, Sorelin. She says, you've been tending to the library, have we? She says, Sorelin was a fool that would not listen to anyone but his own ego. And most likely got everyone killed. At least that's my assumption. All those young kids that he coerced into going with him.
What
And
did he think he was doing? Where did he go?
he mumbled stuff about how he was going to find the cure to Shadow Plague. And he riled up a lot of our young men into going with him. And we have not seen him for over 2 years now. The fool. And she, you could definitely tell she's like kind of angry now.
Yeah. How did he think he could do it?
And she lets out a long sigh and she says, I really don't know, Deadeyes. I don't know if he really told me all the specifics of it. I don't think I would be able to remember too much about it anyways. I have so many things going on here in Shadow's Hold. But they sound like the mumblings of a madman, if you ask me.
Seems like do you get a fair case of people going crazy here?
She says, I link that to perhaps the being stuck underground. Most people, especially humans, are not equipped to spending so much time underground. At least that's my theory.
Interesting. It's unfortunate that we have to kick them out.
And she says, it is sad, but necessary when someone becomes too violent to keep around in Shadow's Hold. She says, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen here.
Have you seen any elves?
And she laughs and she says, elves? Mythical creatures? She says, of course not.
The books speak of elves being overtaken by the shadow.
And she says, what?
Elves
What
and other
elves?
fey creatures.
And she says, I wouldn't read too much into those stories, Erlon. She says they are a record, but a lot of those are just stories or people's perception of what they think they saw. But Erlon, as she says that, you know better.
Yeah.
You're pretty sure that you connected the dots. Like, you're pretty sure that it's true.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I get where she's at. She doesn't want to acknowledge it because that would mean having to do something about it.
She says, now that you had some time to spend in Shadow's Hold, I spoke with some of the other council members, and we are in agreement that being as how all of you survivors from the shipwreck survived the night, and being as how you have quite no doubt a quite capable hunter amongst you, and she's looking right at Ghoul, that you guys should be our newest hunting party. And she says, it's a very important and dangerous job in Shadow's Hold, probably the most dangerous, as it definitely puts you directly in harm's way. but I can say that it is the most, it pays out the most of all the jobs.
Sold.
She says so.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You say sold, and I say hold on.
Hold on,
Well,
guys. Hold on.
Google seems content that, I'll be a hunter.
And I say, it's nice and all, but what are you going to do about the aggression that's being shown toward us in this city? I got punched in the head today. And the young lad's lucky I didn't kill him.
Oh, good point.
And she says, you were assaulted?
I'm not looking to have this person thrown out, but there has been some aggression toward our party.
I see. And she looks over at Celia and she says, Celia, make sure you record that down. This will not go unpunished. I am grateful to you, Erlon, that you have mentioned this to me. What did he look like? Do you know his name?
I don't remember. I got punched in the head. I'm not telling on him. Say it doesn't matter who it was. What I'm worried about is he's not the only one that's shown aggression toward us since we've gotten here.
And she says, well, pardon me for saying so, but I disagree, Erlon. It does matter who it is. We cannot let residents of Shadow's Hold think that it's okay to assault others, regardless of what they may or may not look like. She says, as far as I'm concerned, all of you here are in peace, and as long as you do not retaliate in such a way that would prove you are untrustworthy or too dangerous to be in Shadow's Hold, then you are welcome to stay. She says, but there must be some consequence.
So next time this happens, and somebody pulls a sword out or something like that, am I allowed to defend myself, or do I have to stand there and be stabbed?
She says you can always defend yourself. However, if possible, as soon as the offense has been taken care of, collect as many witnesses that you can, and you would want to one second, I'm looking at my notes here.
Yeah, okay.
I have a lot of people here. So Belor. So Belor is like, I guess you can consider him kind of like a police officer, but she mentions how, if someone's trying to kill you, you want to eliminate the threat, but if you can avoid outright killing them, because it would be harder to prove if it was like excessive force and retaliation, then basically the person needs to go up for trial, and if found guilty, then they are put in a holding cell for a time so that they can cool off and also think about their offense. But basically after 3 offenses, it's basically 3 strikes, you're out. She then explains that after the 3rd offense, they are exiled, like kicked out of Shadow's Hold. So they take it very, very seriously, especially if it comes to assaulting others. So that's why she says that's why it is very important, because if this person has already had several offenses, then it is of great importance. She says, but you were freshies and you seem like you are uncomfortable with telling me who this perpetrator was. But no worries. Was this in the living quarters? Where did this offense take place?
I'm having a hard time remembering.
And she just kind of gives you a glance, and she says, certainly too hard for you to remember. And she says, very well then. No action will be taken against this perpetrator for now. But if it happens again, you be sure to let Belor or myself know.
Will do.
And she says, okay then. So
And he grew up on the streets, man. He's no teller.
Are all of you our newest hunting party?
Sure.
You would be our third.
All right.
Okay, so she then goes on to express the responsibilities of a hunting party. And she says that it's the hunters that go out and basically basically look for food. Hunting spiders. Because as like the spiders that they hunt for that spider meat, they're pretty big, and even just killing one or two could sustain the community for like a good while, because they portion and ration it out, and it can last. A single spider could probably last a couple days, but since we're going to be the third hunting party, that would be really good for Shadow's Hold, because that means chances go up that we'll be able to bring back some decent amount of food. She says, however, it's very, very dangerous, and that is why all of you must pass through Vincent's training. Before you are allowed to go onto the surface, we need to make sure that you are capable. No doubt, and she puts out a hand, towards goal. She says, no doubt, I'm sure you all feel that you are quite capable in combat, but it is our procedure here to make sure that everyone is equipped with the knowledge and the skills to survive on the surface.
How do you?
So you must pass Vincent's training, and that is what you guys are going to be doing tomorrow. She says, when you pass the training, then the next day you will be approved to go hunting. And I think you were told before, but when you go out hunting, you can do so at your leisure, at your own time frame. But know this: as soon as moments before sunset, the doors to Shadow Hold are fortified and locked, and they are not opened under any circumstance. So if you do not make it back in time, I certainly hope that doesn't happen to you. And she says it has happened in the past.
How much will we be paid?
Aaron has a question.
Yep.
He says he asks if tomorrow's training is a duel with Vincent. Does it include that?
Does it include a duel with Vincent? And she looks at you curiously.
To prove your worth that you're a capable hunter.
And she says, I don't think so. He judges your skills based on several skill contests. He analyzes your fighting, the way that you move in combat.
He says, okay.
How does a weapons trainer test people who use magic?
And she says, good question. And she says, he has his methods.
All right. How much will we be paid for this?
She says, well, if you come back with no food, you get paid nothing.
Well, I figured that.
And she says, but it depends on what you find. If you find, and she says, I suggest before you go out, go buy some. I have it. Hold on, I have it written down somewhere. I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah,
go buy some flasks. And she says, Ellen she manages textiles, but she gladly accepts mole spider blood, which has the greenish color that basically Shadow's Hold uses for everything, and she pays 1 gold for each flask of it. And likewise for the meat, it's 5 silver per leg of intact leg. She says, granted, when you're fighting these spiders, sometimes the legs get broken off or they're unusable, but good intact legs, each one is worth 5 silver.
All right. Huh.
She says, but of course, it's really up to Beatrice to set the price on that. But as far as I know, that was what she was paying, what she has been paying.
What about Sea Troll?
And she says, sea troll, everyone stays clear of those. I don't know what use they are to anything.
You really want that thing growing in your belly?
Yeah.
I start laughing.
Yeah. So basically the next day we have to pass some tests with Vincent. If he basically gives the okay that each one of us is a capable hunter, then we're able to go hunting the following day. Yeah. So, any more questions? She says.
Nope.
Nope.
So they use the spider blood to dye the clothes and the armor, huh?
Yeah. Yep. She says that Vincent, she doesn't want to step on his toes or anything, but Vincent has a whole training regimen all planned out that he created. She says Vincent will fill you in. He's in charge of all the hunters before they are sent out.
All right.
But she says that he'll fill us in on everything that we need to know. All the knowledge that Shadow's Hold has on the spiders in the area. So, yeah, and this whole time, Celia has been writing and turning pages in these books. All right, so with that, I think we'll call it a session.